Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to continue with the Two Sisters art sampler box, and I have still got, this is the February box, and so much still to play with. So at the present stage I'm doing, just following a little thing that's called Random Acts of Kindness. Tongue-tied today. So I've got a whole lot of little bits and pieces in here, and I'm going to make up a few tags with the goodies that we've got. So something that's just very simple, small, that you can actually put into your journals, and you can use them as just little swaps. So I've sent a couple of things out already to a couple of friends and followers, so I hope they enjoy that and they can add those little bits and pieces to their art journals. So we've got little bits, and so we've already got little cards like this if you've received the little box in our art journal. So we really don't have to do too much more with those, but we can just add them just to a little bit of cardstock, add a few little embellishments on them, and they're basically just about ready to go themselves. So I'm just going to clear this off, get my area ready, and we're going to have a play. Okay, so I've just got a few things that I'm going to be using today. We've got the little cards. Now, one of my little tips I've actually seen elsewhere that I've started using is that I often end up with little scraps of paper like this, and I don't really throw them out because I think I can use it for something else. So even the little plastic bags that things come in, because this, when the seal is actually still good, I'll actually use that just to keep little bits and pieces in. So I've got a few bits and pieces just by my side in another big bag that I just keep little bits that I can use to add to embellishments and other little projects. So I'm even going to use this. It's nice and thick, so even if just adding some scrapbooking paper over the top, just to make a couple of little tags for us today. I'm also going to utilize these little cards that were on our little goodies that we got in Tanya's bag. So we'll get started. So, couldn't help myself, I've got this little bit that just a cardstock that I've used on a previous project. Now this little sticker was just out of I think it was either the November or December art sampler box. So little art tags can be as simple as, just got that sticker down. I'm just going to make, this wasn't quite even. So the people that have received the art sampler box for February, I hope you're enjoying it. Tanya usually gets everything done in the box herself, but this month, just because I was up visiting Tanya, I got the opportunity to help her put this little art sampler together. So I was very excited. So that looks rather cute. So now in our box we also had some inks. So all I'm going to do is just take that just around the edge. There we have it. So just making a few little things, we don't have to get into too much detail, so that can just then be added to another art project or into one of our art journals. Very cute. So I'm just going to put that away into one of my little folders that I can use. So I just have a few little boxes out to the side of me that I just keep adding bits and pieces to. I recently gave away a lot of journal cards, so I've got to start building up. So I've just got these little bags that I've just picked up at a $2 shop, and just keep in things like just adding that little art tag. I've got ACTs, art tags that I've made or received from others that I'm going to put into art journals, art journal cards, some pockets, and just some other little tags there that I've made up. So that's how I'm starting to organise mine, just so I'm a little bit more organised and know where things are. I think half the time is I do something and I put it away to use again later and I forget where I've put it. So just something else simple again. So I've got that little card there. I thought if I cut this one down just a margin, so using that green as a backing paper. Sorry, a bit of rustling. Okay, so I'm just going to trim the smallest amount off here. I haven't got any measures, I am just eyeballing it. This down. Hope you are all well, staying healthy and happy in 2021. I can't believe that we're already into February. Sadly, before we know it, it'll probably be Christmas again. So almost done here. Just taking those small edges off. Okay, just to make it a bit more even, I'm just going to take just a little bit more off the top. Okay, and I think that'll sit nicely there. So I've got those trimmed down. All I'm going to do for this one is just taking just that ink again and just doing on the edges. Now I've rounded off the edge of the other tag before, but I'm not going to do it with this one. I'm just going to keep this one square, but we might do a few different edges along the way. It's not showing up dramatically there on the screen, but it's just a little edge. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to use some double-sided tape. It's been 2 weeks, the cast has been off, and it has been wonderful to have my hair back. Still a little bit painful, but apparently I can expect that for 3 to 6 months. But flexibility is slowly coming back with physio. I have been very good and practicing every day, doing things, because with what I do for work and the love of my art, I need my 2 hands. So even my little thumb is getting back its full flexibility, which is great. Just not a lot of strength just yet, but that will come in time. Thank you for all the well wishes that I've received. It was very much appreciated, felt very loved. So once again, just eyeballing it and getting it to as center as I possibly can. Okay, I like that, it's quite cute. Now I have just got some little bling that I'm just going to add a little bit to. I don't think I'll use the huge big ones. So these ones I have got from Uniquely Creative, but you can pick these up anywhere. Even the dollar shops have some bling. Just putting these down the side, just one more I think. Okay, another little card, the place to be. Okay, just going to start tearing some bits and pieces. Interesting with the back side. Save that bit for later. So with this, I will probably go over the edge. I'm just going to use a little bit of Mod Podge today. And Mr. Funky old brush. I'm just putting this down on the paper first. I'm not too sure what this is going to end up like. Sometimes I have a clear idea of what I'm going to do, other times it's just, how about we just go with the flow. This can go over the edge and I shall just trim this back later. I'm just going to add a few layers to this morning. Now these were little envelopes that were in the box. Just to add a bit more colour here and there. Okay, I'm just going to dry that off and then I'll come back and I'll trim that up. Okay, so that is the card dried and I've just trimmed it around the edges there now. So I'm just going to add a little bit of white gesso. Oops, too much out. But just a little bit here and there. Just got a wet one. Just want a little bit of a milky sort of look. I can still see things there, but all again it's just about layers. set that aside for a moment. So I have kind of changed my mind on the direction that I was going to go. I'm going to use some of the stamps that I got in this box. So I just got my little stamp pad and I've got the wording out on here. I've got some card stock, and this was just left over from another project. Now it has got a rough side, which generally I would use, but because I'm going to stamp it, I'm actually just flipping it over and using the reverse side. And so just using my ink pad, just covering that. And just take off some little edges there I don't want to get onto the paper. Okay, I'm just stamping that down. And just pressing firmly all over it. Okay, lovely. So with that, there's a couple of other little ones there. I want to try, I've got this idea in my head, I'm not quite sure if it's going to work. So I've got my black, I'm just going to use the flower here. Now I want to use this more as a light pattern, so just a little bit. And another one, just like that. So it's just the faint outline. Oops, I wanted to keep that. So then wanted to come with, I got a red. Now I have got a stamp press, which I should have thought of to start with, that this would work, but I just kind of wanted a double image over the top. Like that. And just placing this over the top. Okay. Just a cute little image there. So I love the stamps that Tanya's put in, and there's some cute little ones. There's one there that I got that I want to create another little project with. We'll do something for over the next couple of days. Okay, that's good. So to speed up time, I'm just going to pause this one, and I am just going to do some fussy cutting with these stamps. Okay, so I've got my messy little clutter here. So we've got the little card there at the moment. Just going to trim that down just a little bit. Oh. Okay, so I'm going for corners. Unplanned, but that's life. And what I'll do is I'll make this one here a little corner as well. This seems just sort of crooked. Okay, I'm a bit happier. So we got a ribbon of these little rosettes. I'm just going to trim down this netting just a little bit. I've just cut off one of those little flowers. do like that knitting. I might use it elsewhere. So I've got that. So once again I am going to do a border around the flowers. As you can see, I've just cut down those flowers. Now I want a little bit of something in the background. Once again, building up a little bit of texture. I'm just going to add just a bit. Just a few little layers. Now, if you have watched me, I'm never happy unless I have gold. So I'm going to use just a bit of gold texturing in the background. You're really not going to be able to read this, but it just gives a little bit, and just the slightest touch there. Okay, while I've got that out, I'm just going to edge that before I layer over it. There. Oh, I think I like that. Not dark enough on this project. Okay, so with these little leaves, I am just going to use a little bit of watercolour. Just looking for a brush. So I've just got a big kit out to the side, so a little bit of watercolour down. Just a little bit of green there. Now I do like the printing that was on there. I just want to add maybe just a little bit more depth. So this is just a little bit more of that watercolour. Just adding just a subtle hint of colour here and there. That's probably a bit too dark for me. There we go. Spreading that around. So it is just on cardstock, so it's not as easy to move around, but I just want just a little bit of colour here and there. Okay. So once again, I'm going to use my Mod Podge. Don't get this mixed up with the gesso that's already there. We'll add gesso to the project later. Oh, use that one. I'll try to use my oldest brushes for my Mod Podge. Just a bit more. This might take just a little while to dry, this one. Just going to bring that Mod Podge out. So I want to slip these just underneath. Got a feeling I want to add maybe a bit of colour to that. Well, the same colour I was using just for the roses there. This is just a bit of watercolour. I'm not using actually a watercolour brush here. This has been used for other things before. I think that would turn out a little bit better if I was using watercolour paper itself, but that's okay. It's just using little bits there. Sorry, that was out of camera just a little bit. So, back with Mod Podge, not the gesso. So I'm using Mod Podge today, not tape. Join the little things with that centre or bring it over to the side. Let's put in this Mod Podge over the top. Which one do I want down first? So I'm just going to put this down to start with. Gesso over the top. Sorry, not gesso, Mod Podge. Just like that, it just helps seal everything. Now, I did though give that a bit of elevation, so with this second flower that I've created, I just want to get a bit of, this is the double-sided tape, it's the foam, so it's going to sit up off the page a little bit. Just sitting up on top. Tease that out a bit. Okay, so just very simple. So that's just a bit shiny at the moment. It'll dry matte. And just another little simple card. Okay, so with that leftover gesso that I've had, I've just covered up the two business cards that I had in there. So it's not totally cleared up, but that is fine. So what I want to do, these will be the last two little ones I do in this little session, is that we all think when we start a project that we have to finish everything here and there. You know, we should have clear set ideas on what we're going to do. But recently what I've started, just looking at what a few other people do, is that all I'm going to do with these two tags is just create something that is simple that I can actually then add something to later. So an example for this is that I've just made up these little tags, so I can either put some wording on this. I might have something that turns up that I go, oh, yep, I know what I can do with that, and then put it into my art journals. So we're just going to do something that's simple, that we can continue to add to down the track. I'm just trying to throw everything away in the background. So I've got my scrap bits of paper, and just going to add a few things here and there. So once again, I'm going to use, I won't use that one. I'll go back and use that Mod Podge again. So this Mod Podge is one of my favourite ones. You can use, I do use that matte medium every now and then. So I am just going to put Mod Podge down. Once again, I'm not afraid to go over the edges, and then I can cut this card back down. I'm just putting this on top, just a little bit over the edge, so everything is covered there. And I think this one, I am trying as much as possible with this one not to get Mod Podge just on the top. I'm just going to use it to stick down today. Just coming in like that. Okay. Just find having these just stashed away on the side, so if I'm working on a project on a journal page that I've got ready to go, and I want to add maybe some wording or another embellishment, just got a little card that I can actually utilise into that project as well. So I've got that little one there. I do like the way that turns out, a little bit of a beach sort of thing. And I might actually just put a run around to that with a sewing machine shortly. Okay, we might make this one slightly, ooh, I like that. Something that matches. Mixing and matching. I'll get more of that rope. Oh. Okay. Yes, no rhyme or reason with this. Just using that Mod Podge. Stick that down. Sorry, making a few weird sounds for you. Just working out Yeah, I want to put bits and pieces. Yeah. So I do make the weirdest sounds at times, I'm sorry. A little bit of a vocal person. Okay. Just getting that down. As I said before, I'm trying just to avoid getting too much Mod Podge on the front of this. And I think I'll trim that down just a bit. Okay, I think I'll add it there. So I do like some scrapbooking paper that actually have, just on the bottom of these sheets, they'll have a strip, a different pattern that kind of like goes in with the general theme of the paper. So this one's just a little bit nautical. Okay, so I'm going to just dry these two off, and I'm going to just sew around the edges of these two. Okay, so that's those two little tags finished, and I'll put those just aside, so I'll use them in a journal. So you can trim those back. I like leaving just little tags there. So there we have today, just 5 quick and simple art tags that we can then add to our journal as we go along. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you had fun.